All right, everyone, welcome to the final 15 minutes of the podcast. You know, it flies so fast with Dustin. You know, like I said before, you know, we could do it like a monthly podcast and be running out of question and answers because there's so many people on Twitter. You know, we'd love to talk to you that, you know, we could go for hours and hours. Could even talk about wrestling, brother.
Yeah, I haven't watched too much of the new stuff recently. I used to love it though back in the day, man. I used to watch it all the time.
When you were younger, right? Exactly. That to me is probably one of the things that keeps me in a good mood. You know, watching wrestling. I watched Monday Night Raw in Montreal Monday, and I was there with my kids, and that's fun to have something in common with your kids. You know, that when they're gonna grow up and think back, of their relationship with their dads, that, hey, that was cool. You know, every Monday Night Raw in Montreal, I used to go there and, hang out. And I would buy like 10 T-shirts, you know.
Yeah, dude. That's good stuff, man. I used to go with my dad all the time and everything. I mean, I watched it right up until once Vince bought WCW, I kind of felt like he took the fight out of it. Like there was no, I don't know. I just felt like they stopped trying so hard with storyline and everything. I just kind of get jaded after that.
Exactly. You know, the Attitude Era was different, and now they're back to more like reality era. But yeah, it changes. So like every 10 years, they change really. But now with social media, and they acknowledge the fact that it's real. It's not. I mean, it's storyline and it's not real, and you can even see on WWE Network stuff behind the scenes, which is pretty cool to see them. But when we talk about people who have their lives scrutinized and every move they make, that's the wrestlers, WWE wrestlers. It's kind of like movie stars, that's incredible. Back in the day, I used to drive the wrestlers, in the 90s. I would drink beers, with Randy Macho Man Savage, Truth Be Told, Owen Hart, Bret Hart, and all those guys. Pick them up at the airport, drive them to their hotels, go eat, train with them, pick them up after the show and to the bar and bring them back to the hotel. But today you couldn't do this because, everybody with a cell phone taking pictures or tweeting or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's probably the only downside of social media. That now they have to be more guarded and probably party more like at the hotel and stuff like that. And that's probably the only negative thing about Twitter, social media, is that there's not a lot of surprises anymore, right?
Oh, it's tough. And, and I'll tell you too, you just don't at the VIP party there at the Salem Con and stuff. I love to hang out with all the fans. Like, I like to have a good time and meet some new friends. And but I never feel, and I'm not somebody who drinks a lot. Like, I like to have a beer, or preferably a hard cider, a little glass of rum, one or two, and that's it for me. Because not that I have any issues with it, but I don't like to have more than that. But when I'm around so many people, and like I said, I don't have a very big opinion of myself or television or any of that, but I feel that there are certain people that look up to me for whatever reason, and I don't want to ever be a disappointment to anybody. So I don't feel it's appropriate for me to be in numerous pictures with all these people with beers in my hand and all that stuff. And there's a time and place for it, and there's really nothing wrong with it. But at the same time, it's just not the image that I want to convey to everybody, So I always go, I have one drink, I hang out with everybody for a couple hours, and I just kind of walk around and stuff, just because it's the right thing to do. People come to these things to pay good money, and I want to make sure everybody has a really good time, and I want the promoters to know that I'm there to make sure that their event is a very good success. But I just don't want to be in everybody's Facebook profile photo, with a beer in my hand. It sends a bad image, so I can understand that. I think that social media definitely has changed that kind of stuff.
Exactly. It also changed the fact that now, we can almost live live in front of everybody. Right. There's but at the same time, if you use it for the good reasons, I always say that Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, or all those social medias, when you use it for the good reasons and you use it as a positive, and I'm not saying positive in a way like always talking about, oh, life is great, but to keep your personal struggles out of it, your fights with people, if you're going through a divorce. Nobody should know it but your close friends, right? Nobody should know about because, if I'm going through the same thing and I'm keeping it to myself, then I'm not really interested in knowing that out of my 3,000 friends, 200 of them are going through divorce at the same time than me. This is personal life has to remain personal in a way. There's nothing wrong with posting a picture of on your vacation or stuff like that, or talking about your interest, but your personal struggles and hardships. If you want to reach out for help, that's a different thing, and that's where I was getting to. Is you always promote the suicidal hotline for people in need of help, and that to me is incredibly important. And I started doing it, brother. The same thing than you. There's 5 or 6 good Twitter accounts, of those hotlines, and the same thing with Make a Wish. I started promoting Make a Wish Canada and Make a Wish America, and I'm a big fan of people that are there for those who need it. And I know it means a lot to you because you close your Twitter almost every night talking about that hotline, right?
Yeah, man, I try to, as long as there's still enough juice left in both myself and my phone. I try to end every day. I always do a little sign on and sign off, and I try to end every day putting that, the suicide hotline up there, the lifeline, because I think it's important for people to know that there is someone that they can reach out to and someone they can talk to. And because despite all these advances we have in technology and all these amazing ways we have to communicate, a lot of times we have people that don't really listen to us. It's a struggle for a lot of people, and they're reaching out and they want to be heard, but instead they just get people that want to try to one-up them in their misery and tell them about their day and their struggles and their problems. And people are hurting sometimes, and they need someone that can be there to listen to them and help them and get them, on a better path and the help they need. And I do my best, but I'm not trained in those kind of things. So I think it's important to have that up there so that, maybe one person comes across it, and all the nights I put it up there for the entire time that I do this. If it saves one person's life, then it's definitely worth it.
It is, and that's very incredible that you do it, because now I started doing it, and I'm sure I'm not the only one who use it as an example and started tweeting about those. Sometimes I'm on Twitter on my break at work, and I'm looking out on Twitter trying to find Make a Wish or those kind of Twitter accounts, because not all of those hotlines or all those companies or they don't all have Twitter accounts, and you have to be sure that you're not promoting a scam account also, which is something else.
Yeah, I know for sure, man. There's a lot of that out there too. It's very sad.
Exactly. So, but to promote stuff like that, to me, it's incredible. It's just like you said, when we did the live podcast in Salem, we can change the world 1 inch at a time, and one tweet at a time, one personal conversation at a time with someone. And and today, people's attention span are so short. People go on their breaks at work. We're like 12 of us, and everybody's on their cell phone. Nobody's talking, and everybody's going through their news feed like this, with their fingers swiping, and then all of a sudden, they look something, and then if more than 30 seconds, then you're almost sure they're gonna go over because it's too long, And to have people listening to the podcast tonight for an hour, to me, that's like, wow, we reach out and people are interested to listening to us for a longer period than 30 seconds. To me, that's awesome, because Twitter is great, but like I said before, life is not a hashtag,
That's true, brother, for sure, man.
And I'm trying to make think of it, to keep my cell phone in my pocket during my whole, try to keep talking to people, because if we lose that connection, 20, I don't know where, we'll be 20 years from now. Because now I see people, eating at the restaurant, and they're on their cell phone. They're not even talking to each other. And sometimes I'm even wondering if they're not texting each other. Yeah,
I know, right? Sitting right there across from each other. It really is kind of crazy, man. It's become one of those things. I'm glad, I'm beyond dating and all that stuff now, because it seems like it'd be a lot more difficult. And even going back on the show now, I remember back when I would film with these guys, 10 years ago, and we would have we would have, our dinner together, and we'd all sit around the table and talk, and somebody would get up to make a phone call, but mostly, there were no smartphones, there were flip phones and those kind of things, and there wasn't texting and stuff going on. It wasn't anything like it is now, and it's just so funny, man. Now, now we go and, it's dinner time, and everyone's sitting in front of their food with their phones out. What happened here? This seems kind of strange, and oh man, it's just crazy. It's amazing, how many changes there have been in technology and our communication skills and our devices over the years. But it's the whole thing with emoji is kind of interesting too. We went from not being able to communicate pretty much at all, just grunts and groans, and then we have some basic ways of communicating, and we've got we got hieroglyphics and everything going on up there, and then we've got incredible written communication skills, and then we've got incredible verbal translations and ways to understand each other. We call each other from across the globe now. You don't have to wait till after 9 o'clock for your minutes to be free. You get an extra thing to call over here. There's not long distance in your own state. None of that stuff's there. And then now we're going back to sending pictures of things instead of talking about it. What the hell's going on? We're going back to hieroglyphics. I'm confused.
I am too, brother. I am too. It goes backwards and upwards. There's something that Brian Cano always said. That struck me as very funny. Say when the world zig, I like to zag.
Yeah, exactly. Sure, man.
And that's a good way to try to always stay ahead of the curve. And try to if you can influence one person, because I'm sure there's rules. I wouldn't imagine you and your friends having dinner, or you with your family and texting, right? Because you work so hard, and when you have time with people that you care about, I'm sure you're not on your cell phone.
Yeah, no, for sure. When I come home from work, I have this little no tech at the table thing. When I go home from work, I want to sit there with my wife and my daughter and spend time together, talking about our day and getting reacquainted with each other, after being apart all day. Because I think these are the most important people in my life, and these are the people I want to connect with. I don't want to sit there, half shoving mashed potatoes in my face and half playing on my phone and not listening to my little daughter tell me about what was important to her at school today.
Wow, that's because at the end of the day, your family is what, your family is, it's your legacy. Your daughter is your legacy. When we leave this earth, my 2 boys will be what I will be remembered for. People won't remember 20 years from now that I did podcasts. Well, if they do, great. But I mean, that I investigated or I worked, whatever. But, my kids will be there, to carry on and to hopefully, continue my legacy. And it's the same thing with you. And it's important for us to try to remain, good role models for them.
Yeah, no, indeed, man. It's very important to always keep that in mind, for sure.
It is, and we have Jenny on Twitter. Beautiful tweet. She said, "What a great day! Great way to end this day. Listening to Dom and Dustin, 2 great guys that inspire and make me laugh." Well, if we make Jenny laugh, that.
Yeah, that's my little lioness. She's fantastic. She's one of the good ones for sure.
That's incredible, and brother, I would say, and we have Laurie also saying, "Hey, brother, Laurie Reed,
Oh yeah. Yeah, she came up to Salem Con as well. She's amazing. She drives up from the Garden State to hang out at most of my events. Always very supportive, very kind, such a sweet, beautiful soul. And just, like I said, man, I'm very, very blessed to have met so many incredible people. I really do. I think about it. As much as I love the field, I walk around in the dark on TV and ask questions to things that may or may not be around me at the time. And as a byproduct of that, I get to meet all these incredible people and travel the world and spend time with them and hear their stories and get to know them and to feel their support and their love. It's just amazing, dude. What a blessing for sure. There's so many cool people.
Exactly, and like I said before, it's a para family. It's the paranormal field, because you talk about met Dave DeLille at SamCon. I was talking about Steve Chavez. He said he lives close to me. I know him. From Brooklyn. And I'm like, the world. It's such a small world. There's 300 million people in America. There's 30 millions of us in Canada, but it's such a small world. And if you keep a positive attitude and you're nice and true and genuine, you're never going to have any problems. I never on Twitter, or on Facebook or whatever. I stay away from drama, and I try to keep a positive attitude. And I have good experiences on Twitter, on Facebook. I'll try to stay this way. And I think if you keep your tweets and your post on Facebook positive, and the same attitude in real life will transpire to how people perceive you, and how well you're going to be respected.
Yeah, for sure, man. The whole idea of, like attracting like, and the whole, like, the tongue is the rudder for the soul kind of thing. You can steer this life one way or the other, and it's your life. So choose accordingly, focus appropriately and do what needs to be done.
Exactly, brother. And I want to thank you so much for your time, and Team Dustin Pari saying it's really epic interview tonight. Special thank you, Dom and Dustin. You rock. That it's very rewarding to know there's so many people that care about the paranormal field and care about what you do, and just makes you want to go on for maybe another 20 years, Dustin. I hope so.
That's good to know, man.
There's a lot of people looking up to you, and you know what? I do, and we'll keep in touch and keep tweeting and seeing each other at paranormal conventions and do the podcast whenever you want. You're you're welcome to be on the show any day of the week, anytime, brother. I love talking to you.
Well, thanks, Seb. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate your time, and thank you to everybody for listening tonight. God bless you all. Nothing but the best to you.
Yeah, and I just want to say that your book, What's Next, they can, where they can get it on your website or...
Amazon. Amazon's the best place to pick it up. If you go to Amazon and type in What's Next and Dustin Pari, Pari, it should come up pretty quickly. There's links. I put it up at least once a day on Twitter, so people can try to pick up a copy of it there. Oh,
perfect, brother. So great book, and great time talking to you tonight. Very enjoy it, and thank you so much for your time, brother.
Anytime, my man. Take care of yourself. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you, Dustin.
All right, brother.
Bye. So, Dustin, just my favorite guy in the paranormal field by far. And now you know why, if you didn't know why. Because I know that 90% of people listening to the podcast tonight knew Dustin, of course. And for those that didn't know Dustin on a personal level, well, this is Dustin Pari. This is what you heard right here on this podcast. And that's the way he is in person. And I don't know if you were there for the first part when I talked about what he did to the person that lost his book and his picture at SalemCon and gave her another free copy of not only the book, but of the picture. Just shows you the kind of person he is, and just shows you the kind of human being he is. And that's the reason why, the first time I met Dustin, I didn't talk to it on the podcast, but I met him 3 years ago in Gettysburg, and it was a paranormal investigation. And Dustin talked about the paranormal, how it changed him, and how it made him a better person by realizing that what we do in this life affects what happens to us when we die. And that was a game changer for me at that point in time 3 years ago. And I told him on the first podcast we did about a year ago. And it was the first time, because he met me there, but there were like 20 of us. But when we met in Salem 3 weeks ago, we became friends on Twitter and on Facebook and talking and everything. And a special connection because sometimes you feel like you're brothers to somebody for a reason or another. And Dustin just had that connection that I love the way he tweets, I love the way he talks and his positive attitude. And we didn't even talk about Patch Ministry that he started on Twitter. And there's so many things. We could have gone on for hours and hours on the podcast, but. Basically the best human being you'll ever meet in your life. And that was an honor for me to be able to have it on the podcast again. And hopefully you enjoyed it. And there'll be other ones coming up in the next few weeks. I'm going on a road trip with Steve next week, May 20th. And we'll be going to Baltimore and Pennsylvania and New York and Staten Island, my good friend Dave DeLille. And there'll be a lot of things coming up in the next few weeks. Summertime's coming, and a lot of things coming up for me and my teammates, and a lot of podcasts. So thank you very much, everybody, for your time tonight, and love you all, and hopefully you have a great evening. Thank you very much.